Hi, welcome to Wedding Cakes for You. I'm Lorelie, and I'm going to show you today how to cut a wedding cake. I have a 3-tiered cake here, and this cake actually was a demonstration cake that I used for a video, and it's been in my fridge for about a week. So these flowers are a little on the old side, but I wanted to leave them on so that you could see how you can put fresh flowers on a wedding cake without actually touching the wedding cake. So I'm going to show you right now. The very first thing that you would do when you're taking a cake apart is to take the top off first. So I'm going to go ahead and take my butterfly off. And then the next thing I'm going to do, there's a few pieces of fruit on here. I'm going to take the fruit off. We've got some blackberries, some raspberries, and those are actually touching the cake, but they're washed, so perfectly safe. Now the next step is I'm going to take the top off. I'm going to use a spatula and go ahead and go underneath here. I have a piece of cardboard, and you'll see in a minute that I made it separate so that you wouldn't actually touch the cake. See how I took a piece of cardboard, cut a hole in the middle, and I fit it right on here. I piped buttercream onto the cardboard round, and then I put the flowers on that so that the cake is safe. It's not touching the cake. So the very first thing that you're going to do is take this dowel rod out of the center of the cake. I did notice that some people will take the cake and pull it up over the dowel rod, but I don't like to do it that way. I feel better doing it this way. So I usually leave, as long as there's not like a porcelain topper on here, I will usually leave a little bit of the dowel rod sticking out. I'm going to use pliers, and if you just gently pull on it, it should come out fairly easily. The cake's been out for a couple of hours now. Whoops, so it's warmed up enough. This would be harder to do if the cake was frozen. Now normally the wedding cake is cut by the caterers or the people in the banquet facility, like the staff would be doing this. And I got a lot of, I got to watch that a lot because I worked in the facility where I would be there sometimes during the process, and it's amazing how quickly they do it. So here we go. I'm just going to use my hands a little bit here. My hands are washed, clean. You could wear gloves if you want. I prefer to use just my hands. Okay. The next step would be to take the top off. Now the top is the part that the bride and groom will save for their anniversary, in most cases. So I'm going to just go ahead and put that right in the box. I like to use the big flat spatula for this. And that's going to go home with the bride and groom. The next step is to take this cake off and put it to the side. I'm going to use my wide spatula again. And just so you can see what I'm doing, I'll bring it over here. Now I've got my 2 cakes to cut, and I'm going to start with the large cake. I like to start with the large. First, you have to take out your dowels. Now I have plastic dowels in here, which I find to be just fine, especially for a medium-sized cake. Put these on a plate. Also, as you can see, I think you can see it from there, I have crumbs on the cake to keep the cakes from sticking. So I use graham cracker crumbs, but you can use coconut or graham cracker crumbs. This helps to prevent the buttercream from sticking to the cardboard of the cake above. Some people would say no to this because they don't want graham cracker crumbs in their cake. So that's something to consider when you talk to your brides. And you can use your fingers for this or a clean tool like I'm using. I'm going to show you two ways that you can cut your wedding cakes. The first way is with a circle. I'm going to cut a circle first, and then I'm going to cut all the pieces around. So take your knife, and you're going to make a circle about 2 to 3 inches in. Just keep cutting around the cake, and then you'll end up with that centerpiece, the 6-inch cake in the middle here. You would cut that, just mark it, and you would get either 8 medium-sized pieces or 16 small pieces. I'm going to show you another way to cut as well.